Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Talking Rubbish podcast. Today we've got Stefano and Bimo from Cool Cookies. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Pleasure is all ours.
It looks like BMO stepped away. It's been happening lately. People have been kind of rugging, so when he comes back up, we'll let him back up. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah,
But
I had a space earlier this morning, and I just noticed tons of connective issues. Like, it was crazy.
well, thanks for being here, Stefano. I'm very familiar with you. BMO, is that how you want me to pronounce your name?
BMO would work best.
BMO, gotcha.
Have you never seen Adventure?
Thanks.
Have I what?
Have you never seen Adventure Time?
Actually, I haven't. It's on my list of TV shows that I need to
That's
watch.
insane.
Right? I haven't watched Peaky Blinders. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. There's a bunch of shows that I'm just really sleeping on that I've heard of. I'm just waiting for them to make a movie of it or something in 25 years, and I'll watch the 2-hour version of it instead of having to commit to But I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about you guys today. So, thank you guys for being here. We love the cookies. We love the project. I guess the first thing I'd ask is tell us about yourselves. Tell us how it all started and how it went and where you guys are at now, and tell me about your journey.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my name is Stefano. My username, Discord ID, all that, I go by Search Ghost, which is a reference to my favorite video game series, Kingdom Hearts. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I grew up with it.
I know.
Yes, I grew up with it. It was one of my favorite enemies, so that's why I've started rocking with that name, and it just kind of stuck. But I'm the founder and artist of Cool Cookies. I'll let my cousin introduce himself, but we're a mental health-based project focused on suicide prevention, mental health awareness, all through adorable cookie art that I drew myself last year. So it's been a minute, but we launched back in March as a free mint, which was a bit before, kind of right before the market had started to change, and the free mint meta, I would say, wasn't really a thing. It was just a choice that we had made, just with our vision, with the story, which I know we'll get into, but just wanting to put the cookies out there and promote this idea and project about mental health and providing that free and judgment-free space for people who are part of Web3 in this community, the whole ecosystem. And we started. Our roadmap originally was to make a $10,000 donation to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which is a really long name, but their acronym is AFSP for short. That's kind of how I'll refer to it. But we did the donation in honor of my older brother who passed away from suicide in 2020. And that's really where the heart of the project is. And everything kind of has been about that. The art is very much about him, myself, the other people in my family, the things that I grew up with, the things he introduced me to, the things that I love, pop culture, music, everything. So that's a very fast overview. I'm sure we'll go a lot more into detail with things, but I did want my cousin to introduce himself and his role as our 2-person team. So
Cool. Hi. Thanks, cuz. My name is Morris. I go by BMO. as you already guessed, it's from Adventure Time because I just freaking love that show. And yeah, so my 9 to 5 is a software engineer. So I've been doing that for a while. And then earlier this year, my cousin came to me asking if I knew anything about NFTs. And I didn't actually develop anything in crypto before, though I've been investing for years. So I just did some research, figured it out, and we made it happen. And then we've been learning and growing ever since.
He's downplaying himself. He's amazing. Developed our smart contract, deployed everything. Walked me through the process because I was not familiar with crypto before I started this. I was not a trader. I hadn't dealt with that arena at all. So this whole experience was me learning this side of crypto, the technology, the blockchain. Like, I had everything, and there was a huge learning curve, but he helped me understand a lot of the concepts. And I think together with his knowledge of, he's a developer and me as an artist, and kind of this family relationship we have, it was like very, very easy to come together and create this passion project. And feel free to cut me off because I will talk and talk and talk. That's how
Here I
I
go.
am. Yeah.
So I hear what you guys are saying, and it's nice to meet all of you guys, and I really am slacking on Adventure Time, I'll admit. But I love how you guys both were kind of new to NFTs, and you guys, because of this mission, I guess, that you guys wanted to embark on, and you guys did a great job so far with everything that you've done, and we can get into that a little later. But I wanted to ask, why NFTs, right? Like, I hear BMO hadn't really done any of these things just yet, and Stefano, you as well, you weren't a trader or anything. So why was Cool Cookies and an NFT collection the solution, or the journey you guys wanted to do?
Well, for me, I was really attracted to a lot of the big blue chip projects, Cool Cats, Doodles, Dead Fellas. I think that style definitely inspired me and the art. I wouldn't even consider myself a digital artist. I'm really actually hypercritical of my own art, but it was something that I felt like I needed to do and I wanted to do. Because my background before this was in the film and TV industry. 23 years old, so not too much out of college, and that's what I studied, was cinema and digital media. So I was kind of always fascinated by graphic design and marketing, art, and film and TV, obviously. But I saw these projects and I was like, man, I really like this art. It's really cute. It's simple. And then I just became fascinated with the community aspect of things. Terms were getting thrown around like DAOs and, these large supplies and blockchain. And I was like, what does all this mean? But it was really cool the more I dove into it. And I was like, oh, so it's like a digital receipt. It's a way to prove ownership of a piece of digital art. And then I saw that communities were forming around it, and then the money too. It was interesting. I mean, as a free mint, I didn't really go into it with that kind of mindset, but I did want to raise $10,000, US, USD. So I was like, this might be a way to do it, and honestly, just it was perfect timing because I was learning about these things, about NFTs, and processing my grief and being with my family through this just unbelievable tragedy with my brother, and wanting to make a difference and do something, be productive, especially coming out of a pandemic, um, and just the world changing, I was like, I want to do something, and I want to do it for him. It was important to me. And so it all honestly just came together. I was like, I can make some art. I know my cousin is a developer. We could probably put this together and raise the money for the donation. I wasn't even anticipating it to take. I mean, we raised the money in about a month, mostly in our first weekend. And so I was like completely overwhelmed and amazed by how the community responded to it. As an artist, NFTs are such a great thing, and I always recommend it to my other friends and people I went to school with. Like, it's such a new and fresh and engaging way to connect with your audience and your fan base through your art. I've never seen anything like it, and so that's why I was really drawn to it. It was like something new, and I've always been a fan of tech. I'm that person that, for whatever reason, has to download all the new betas on your phone, test things. Like, I'm always upgrading my devices. Like, I've always been fascinated by tech, and so I think that this was just and collectibles. I didn't even mention that. I'm a huge collector. I collect everything. I collect comics. I collect games. Like, there's so much. If I find that there's a pair of something, I have to have both. And so, trading cards, NFTs, they reminded me of that so much. The rarity aspect of it. It was just so cool. And so I was like, this is a great thing. I'm super interested in it. And then, with our cause and the reason why we did it kind of all just blended harmoniously for me. So that's kind of why I got into NFTs and why we decided to go this route, really, rather than crowdfunding or something else.
Yeah, we first discovered you when we were just looking on Twitter Spaces. I noticed your space, and I hopped in, and just hearing your authenticity, I immediately messaged Funge, and I said, get in here and listen to this dude's amazing story and how he's turning
It was love at first space for Ments.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am a massive fanboy. Ments winds me up about it all the not Ments, Funge winds me up about it all the time. But I noticed when I was in the space that you were very authentic and transparent about your own experiences. Do you feel that talking about your experiences helps when you're struggling?
Absolutely. I was actually thinking about that, kind of how I was going to talk about this, because I say it a lot in my spaces that also doing this project and being vulnerable and transparent, like you said, with the community, with strangers, with the public, it's like I very much am putting out this very personal story into the world. And it is the backbone of the project. And it does, in a way, help me. It's helped me process my grief in some ways, yeah. This Saturday actually will be the 2-year anniversary of his passing. So it's been an emotional ride. This week, I'm sure next week will too. But honestly, as a mental health advocate, as a project that's rooted in it, and transparency and honesty, like, we do everything with the community. Everything is it's just out there for people to see. It's been tough. It's been interesting because I created the project to raise the money to do something about this, suicide, the stigma, especially amongst men. It just completely changed my world. The whole situation has just changed my life completely. And I know other people, I know families, they go through these things. They are real. And so I didn't want to shy away from that. Like I said, I put myself out there. I share my story. It's written up places, it's been an emotional roller coaster, I think. And even the traits, the cookies themselves, I think they reflect my feelings. You know, I've been asked a couple times, oh, there's like sad cookies and angry cookies and frustrated cookies. And I'm like, yeah, well, these are all things that I feel. These are things as humans we all experience. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel these things, to be vulnerable with yourself and to seek help if you need it, to seek that comfort. And I think that that helps me a lot too, is I've had many beautiful conversations and people reach out to me, um, being very vulnerable, honestly, telling me about their stories, t- uh, reminding me that I'm not alone, being very supportive. And to me, this Web3 family, not just the cookies, but anybody that comes across me or the project is like, I'm very inviting and open arms to everybody. Um, and I love that so much. So it has helped me in some ways. It'll be interesting to see in another year, in 5 years, in 10 years, kind of what this all um, looks like and how much I've changed. Because, you know, it's been a rough spot. So
Well, I'm sorry to hear about the 2 year anniversary. I know that it's gonna be a hard time, and I'm very sorry to hear that. But I do think that you are positioning yourself to be a vocal and efficient, or at least, yeah, I guess efficient advocate. Like you are vulnerable and authentic, and it shows that you care and you're trying. So I guess if it's okay with you, I want to ask just one thing really about the topic, which would be, what would be like your message from like all the stuff that you've done to maybe like someone who's going in a similar situation, or somebody who's maybe even contemplating suicide, or has ideations or something like that, because I think that you might have something that might be helpful to say.
it's a tough question because I know everybody deals with things differently. And I do say with my project and what I'm doing, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a mental health expert. All I am is a person who has gone through this experience. But I mean, it's even just being reminded, finding those things that tether you to the world, even when that's, you know, when you're at your lowest and darkest moments, is find those things that tether you to the world. For me, it's my family. To me, it's genuinely care about. I'm not a very materialistic person. I'd actually say I'm pretty minimalist, but um, my family is everything. Why I made the project. And honestly, I don't really know how to answer that. It's going into the project, that's kind of been my approach, and that's why I am super grateful that I've connected with you guys, and um, we have some other partners, and even the donation has allowed me to connect with the charity more, and discuss with them some ways, some resources that we can provide to the community, um, and those who aren't holders, just trying to um, be there and advocate for these things. Even myself, I haven't really talked about it too much, but I have been in really close contact with the charity, with AFSP, to even possibly lobby, you know, create a bill to do something that's really personal to me that um, I don't want to really talk about too much because it is so early, and but it is like really important for me as someone who doesn't really have all the answers myself, to just try and be there and remind those that um, you know, you're really not alone. I know my cousin and I were talking last night about this too, and maybe he can talk about the things that we're also trying to do, to kind of help people, um, and you know what the project can do for those. Morris.
All right. Yeah, thanks, cuz one thing that we've been wanting to do is to just provide information and resources to the community, to anybody. Just little tips and tricks or different habits or different ways to look at things, such as like ways to increase your happy chemicals in your brain, such as dopamine and serotonin, even oxytocin and endorphins. So like little things like getting some sunlight that could really help. I can go days without seeing the sun at times. So getting that sun can make a huge difference. Or just playing with a dog, or I don't know, doing something healthy for yourself, like a little bit of exercise, eating some chocolate. I don't know, just little tips and tricks, maybe little movement routines, quick little 5-minute drills or even 30-second drills you could do in the morning. And actually fasting and meditation, I've been doing fasting for 7 years now, and it completely changed my life. So I really love to talk about fasting and the benefits that come with it.
He does. But it's true. He is another. My cousin is another great resource like that, where I feel like a lot of the times we talk, we were in New York for NFT New York. It was like, or NFT NYC. It was like, he does give me a lot of information too. I don't even know the correct terminology for it, but like this kind of physical and mental healing. I'm not someone who really is immersed in that stuff, but he is. And so that's a new thing, a new way and approach that we connect with the community as well. We really are like two really great folds, and we both contribute so much to our projects, and that's a huge portion of it is really engaging with the community. We do our game nights. We've had movie nights in the past. You guys know I host my Twitter Spaces at least a couple times a week. We collab with a bunch of projects. Honestly, I know on the mental health aspect of this project in this space with NFTs, Web3. For me, I go through moments where I'm like, it could be a bit depressing, and there's a lot of anxiety, just simply being online. My cousin and I don't live in the same state. We operate fully remote from one another. Even something like this, it's like we're not in the same room, but we're having this conversation, and I miss that social interaction. So I think it's important, as we're all like looking at our screens, being inside all day. Even me, I have to do my spaces outside. I'm outside right now, actually, because this is the only time I really get to catch the sunlight and pace around, get a little bit of movement. But even myself, I need to get better at it. Like I'll go really long stretches where I'm not eating, or my sleep schedule is completely thrown off. But I'll take a day. I'll be like with the community, yo, I'm done for today. I need a mental health check. Like I gotta touch some grass. So even me, I'm learning, and so I don't try to come off as this perfect being. Like no, I go through so much too. And so being real with the community is another huge, important factor of what we do. Ments, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that. I've been in the Discord, and I remember you were doing the Pokemon competition as well, and I thought it was great that just how active you are within the community. Like whenever you go in the Discord, whenever you're up, you're always either in the channels or in the general chat, which I think is great. And obviously, you're there to support your community. But with the community that you've created, do you feel that they support you as well when you feel like you're struggling?
I think, yeah. I think it's yes, they do. They do. I think it's taken a little bit of time for us as a free mint to for the core community to shine through. Just I think with the nature of a free mint collection, you get a lot of pump and dump, people. But now, more recently, it's like I really make an effort to get to know everybody, their username, their PFPs. We host like a weekly giveaway. Today we have one as well since it's Friday. Yeah, and I think the community is very supportive of us, and I think I would like to say that I think we've earned that trust. I mean, I tell everybody like this is what we're doing. Even if we're not delivering on something every single week and there's not that instant gratification, although we do our giveaways. It's just like talking. It's just like being there, being consistent. And so I think as long as I'm consistent, the community has been very supportive of us, even through the market changes a bit. But I'm very excited. Like, I really get to know everybody, and I don't know. You just establish like such a special bond with everybody, and I think that's the best part. Like, I see, oh dang, that's a PFP. Oh, sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, you get to meet everybody, and that's the best part. That's really what drew me into this, was the community anyway. So we have a DAO and we vote on things. Like, we do like engage with the community a lot. Everything we do is community based.
I noticed one, you mentioned earlier, and I just want to give you a shout out about the leadership that you guys have, right? Whether it's just you or it's you and BMO. I love that you'll admit I'm not an expert, but I do have a story, and I do want to help, and I'm learning, and I'm willing to try things. So great for that. But I also noticed that you said, what did you just say? You said your community. When I wrote the article about cool cookies, what I made it a point to just like point out how much of a value I think you have to your community. It was really refreshing to see that, because everyone has teams, or everyone has their roadmap that they focus on. You seem to care about those things, but you also seem to put so much time into your community. You are accessible, you are welcoming, you are easy to talk to. That's not the case in a lot of communities. In some communities, founders become like these unreachable things, which are good sometimes for marketing reasons, but I think when you pair that with like the mental health priority that you have, I think it's a bad mix. And I think being accessible and trying to focus on mental health, I think, is the right blend. It just works really well together. So I guess this is my question. I'm just pointing that out, and I want to repeat that because I feel strongly about that. I found that really impressive, and I love that about you and this group. And then I also wanted to confirm that you guys have these weekly giveaways. Like, while you're talking, I went on Discord and I entered this week's giveaway. And I sometimes I forget, sometimes I don't, but you consistently do that, and I love that you do that. But I also love how transparent you are. You guys created the DAO, the cookie jar, right? So I did want to ask, what was the thought process behind the DAO and the cookie jar, and why did you want to go about handling business that way?
Well, the DAO, the cookie jar DAO, I know that there's many uses and projects go about their DAO. At the moment, ours is just a voting DAO. It's, you get as many votes as the amount of cookies that you own. And that's kind of the model we've been using is, those who are more invested solely in the quantity amount of tokens, you get to help vote on these proposals that we've suggested and brought up within the community in terms of how we In terms of the royalty money, really, we're working with a limited amount of resources, so kind of every dollar does count. And so as this community-driven and focused project, our DAO allows us to navigate things and make adjustments accordingly. I think that we did it that way is because the space is constantly evolving. There's new trends, and maybe our holders don't necessarily agree with something we're doing. They have that power and their voice, which I think in a mental health project is important, is like that we are actively listening to our community, and we genuinely care about their feedback. Sometimes I'm even a little bit wishy-washy a bit because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I know it's impossible to please everybody, but I think the DAO kind of has that democratic power, where it's like, if you, much like our giveaways, if you own more cookies, you have more odds of winning our giveaways. That's just the model that we've been using since we started. So I think that was kind of the reason why we've done it this way. And I'd like to continue using it. Just it's been really helpful, especially like if I'm not 100% sure on something. It's just like, well, let the community decide. I don't want to really speak for everybody. And like I mentioned, we're working with a limited amount of resources, so everything matters. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question completely, but that's why we have that, or why we decided to do things that way.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think that I kind of figured that, but I wanted to explain that just because I wanted to, again, highlight how transparent you are and how you care about your community and how every member has power. I love that about you, but I think Mans has a question.
Yeah, I know, Beamer, you do the development side of things, the smart contracts, etc. I've only dabbled in this myself, and it is so stressful at times, especially when you're like starting to learn it all. But
there's a reason why Mental Health Collective doesn't have NFTs. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I know you touched briefly on fasting. But what else do you do to manage stress, Beamer?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. Most recently, I've gotten back into exercising regularly, which I took a break from just because of so much work. And I gotta say, it really helps a lot. I can't say I'm like I'm going at it like a full-time bodybuilder would. Like, I squeeze in little quick workouts almost every day, and that's made a huge difference in my mood and energy levels. I used to be more active and more regular in meditating. That was a big part of my schedule. I still do some, but yeah, I believe meditation can be really powerful. So when I'm really, what's the word, in need, I make sure to take a break and, just meditate, or even just zone out for 20 minutes, just let my brain rest. I'm a big fan or proponent of the law of attraction, so sometimes I'll spit out some of that magical nonsense, if you want to call it that.
Magical nonsense. I love that.
But yeah, I love the thought of it, and just, raising your vibration. So even if it means thinking of nothing or just zoning out, that's better than feeling like crap. So that's one of my tools. It's just, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just cover my eyes. I got like a face mask, and I'll just zone out for like 15, 20 minutes, which sometimes leads to me falling asleep, which is fine. Like, that works too.
You probably need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are my main tools, and of course, diet. Diet is huge. So I mentioned sunlight exposure. That's really good for raising your vibration, and just cleaning up your diet. You know, if I know I need the extra boost, I'll make sure to eat clean. Stay away from the sugars for a while. Maybe some like fruits or vegetable juice. That's really
Or
good for your vibes.
or
Or
just because I don't want to set you up for failure here. Or cookies, right?
yeah, I mean, okay, you mean digital cookies? Yeah.
All I'm
Uh,
saying is all sugar stuff is bad except cookies.
yeah, totally. Let's go with that. Yeah,
Cookies are my favorite dessert. That's why I decided to make cool cookies instead of some other random dessert or animal that hasn't been touched on yet in NFTs. Um, so that's why cookies are my favorite dessert.
And
I've like
actually,
barely mentioned that. So
I was
yeah, you
actually going to
said it
ask you
in our
guys
spaces.
I was going to ask both of you guys actually. I didn't know that. I didn't know where the cookie theme came from. So how do you guys feel about probably being the only cookie centered project? And I mean that was a choice. I haven't seen a lot of food based projects, but you guys are, and it worked out. It looks great.
thank you. Yeah, the cookies. Well, they are my favorite dessert. Like I remember for my most recent birthday, I had cookies, like a plate of cookies instead of cake. Um, so that was another reason. And I had felt like there was something wholesome. And I think cookies kind of intrinsically being associated with family, that kind of family baking love. Uh, you know, my mom always comes to my mind when I think of cookies and baking. And I remember baking with her and my brothers and stuff and my nephew now. Um, and then, yeah, that's kind of where the cookies came from. And then all the other traits, the hoodies, the references, the skate culture kind of being infused, that all just came from either my personal wardrobe or my brothers or whoever's, or just references to the things that we all enjoy. I'm a huge basketball fan, so we have a couple of jerseys in there.
So
There's yeah.
you're gonna set Funge off because he's a massive basketball fan.
Oh yeah, maybe I might be able to do
All of a
something.
sudden, I have to start browsing through OpenSea. What's going on here? This guy's a salesman.
There are two. We have a Kobe Bryant jersey and a Michael Jordan jersey, which I know that those are kind of commonplace with some collections, but for me, there is that story aspect. Like I would say, all or a majority of the traits have. Um, my brother he was born in the 80s, grew up in the 80s and 90s. Um, that's like Michael Jordan's era. So he introduced me to basketball, the Chicago Bulls, the history. And now with his son, he's a huge Kobe Bryant fan, kind of this 2010s era. Well, he grew up he's like with the new school, but like he's a very big Kobe fan, and so that's why those two specifically are included. And even myself and my younger brother are big Kobe Bryant fans because that's kind of when we grew up watching the NBA. So um, there's stories, and I've had many community members ask me like, "Yo, what's this? What's the story? What's the story behind this cookie?" And I'm like, he's just wearing a gray hoodie, but it's an important gray hoodie because it's my gray hoodie. I'm wearing it right now in practically like, what is it, 90-degree heat here in California. So it's like it's stuff like that. The puffers, there's specifically 3 of them in 3 colors, the black, the blue, and the yellow, because those are the 3 puffers that me and my two brothers own. I own the black, my older brother had the blue, and my younger brother has the yellow. Like, you wouldn't know that unless you asked me. And in our Discord channels and our sneak peeks, I've been trying to like post at least once a week, like, hey, did you know that this trait was in our like this? Maybe I'll do the puffer one for this week because that's a good story too. But all that kind of stuff, there's story and so much love that went into all the art. So it is really personal to me, but that's why I love sharing it with everybody. And I love hearing what everybody has to say about the traits or why they pick up certain things.
I'm sure Mens has a question, but I did want, because you're talking about traits, and Stefano, you made these traits, so you probably can't choose a favorite, probably, because you made them all. I'm sure there was a
Stole my
bunch of them.
question. You stole my question.
I wasn't gonna ask him that. I was gonna ask BMO actually, because BMO didn't make them, right? BMO helped like upload them and put them. So I wanted to ask BMO what your favorite trait was.
Thanks. That's a good question. When I first saw the art, well, actually, before I go there, I just want to touch back because I kind of feel like I dropped the ball on that one. Warm batch of cookies with family is a great way to raise vibes, just to go back to that topic. So yeah, cookies are definitely good. But as far as favorite traits, when I first started, exploring the collection, what stuck out to me is the paper bags and the crop tops. That's still my favorite.
The crop top has such a great story too. It's awesome.
Yeah, so those are my first that caught my eye, and yeah, still my favorite. Maybe the pink robes are now up there too, but I'd stick with the paper bags and crop tops.
Update, I found the Kobe. It looks awesome. Somebody help.
Yeah, I was looking at the as soon as I discovered coal cookies, I was looking through all the traits and stuff, and I absolutely love the Harry Potter one. The Harry Potter is my ultimate favorite. But yeah, I know it's it's a lot like responsibility taken on, like running and founding a project. I just wondered if you had any tips for anybody who was like thinking about starting a project, or anything that you've learned on your own journey as being project founders.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let my cousin take a stab at this too. But for me, now having, almost it'll be 6 months this month since we launched, all the things I've learned is really, yeah, trends are important and all that stuff is, you got to watch out for those things. If it's something you feel is right for your project, you can implement it. But honestly, staying true to yourself and why you created the project. Is it just to make money? I don't know. But for me, it's like I always have to remind myself why I did this. This is in memory of my brother. This is to help people, to help myself in many ways. I have to remind myself that the things I implement, the choices I make, that they stay true to me. And so I know it can be easy to get lost in numbers, trending, projects with these huge teams adding utility, all this crazy development. I think if you can kind of ignore the noise and focus on yourself, I mean, everybody says we're early, this is the Wild West right now. Just do with your project what you want and stay true to it. Who cares what everybody else is doing? If someone has a similar idea to you and they're doing this and that, just stick with what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, success is not defined by numbers, it's defined by yourself. And so if you come out of your project happy, and you feel as though you've accomplished the goals you set, to me that's all that matters. We started this with a roadmap of just having a really tight community, our DAO, and the donation. And now we're in the phase of building out this new roadmap, new ideas. And that's something I think about a lot, is what do I want to do? Yes, we have our DAO, and we can have people kind of vote, and we can form that roadmap together. But it's, again, as a founder, I don't want to have the project go in a direction where I'm no longer happy, or honestly, I just get fed up by working on it. So if I had any advice, it would be just stay true to yourself and your vision, and try to, ignore the noise, if you will. Because on the dev side, I don't know.
I was just gonna say that was well-timed advice, just because Mental Health Collective is our project in a way, and our thing that we're building. Even though it's not an NFT project, it is something that we're building, and we have. I've kind of been thinking this too, so I love what you're saying, and it's just well-timed advice, because it applies to me, and I love to just give credit and thank you when it deserves to be said. So thanks and well said. But I do want to hear BMO's advice too.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, I do want to double down on that, just staying true to yourself, and just being honest and transparent. Like, there's always this fear of like FUD and the community not responding well to anything you may say or do. But as long as you're going out there with pure intentions and you're being honest and transparent, I feel like there's no need to worry. Like, worst case, you might just, revise something, but we're not hiding anything. We're not being shady. We're not making any money, to be honest. So, like, we're just out here for the goodness of everybody. So, like, there's just no fear as long as you're being true and honest. So that's one thing I would recommend. It just takes a lot of that stress off. Like, you don't need any more stress. So just go out there and be you.
Just do your thing. Like, we've had to revise stuff. I come on my spaces and I talk about the things that we're working on, and I just spitball ideas with everybody. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think? Like, this is something we're thinking about. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't see it that way. Like, collaboration with your community also does take off that stress in a way, because my cousin and I could just throw ideas back and forth, but at the end of the day, if someone's going to buy something or sell it or whatever, it's like, well, why not take that feedback into consideration? And so that's why the DAO is super helpful, and that's part of our business model in a way. Yeah, so just being true, honestly. That's taken a lot of stress off of me. I remember you get really caught up in the hype, and when you first launch, you see all this crazy people, the server gets flooded. Well, when that all kind of fades away, the real core community and we shine through, and we're just moving. Honestly, especially in this market, just kind of moving in silence, just doing our thing. Our heads are down. We're just working. So I think I think that could be fair to say, both in this market and a bull run. Like, just if you believe in something, just do it. Sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true.
Sounds, on the topic of cookies, it just sounds sweet. Let's just say that. I did want to ask, on the same thread of founders and advice. You guys are, in your own way, could potentially be leaders when it comes to mental health focused NFT projects. I mean, I know, because we like to be connected with all the mental health focused NFT projects, and you guys are a good one, definitely. That's just saying it lightly. So what I would say is, as founders in this like small niche of a young industry, I guess, with NFTs and everything, what are some things that you guys? I wouldn't want you guys to focus on the people things that people are doing wrong, but what are the things that you think people are doing well that you would want to see more projects or more founders do that could keep helping like the mental health of the space?
Man, well, I've said it a few times, and I don't believe it will ever happen, but metrics and analytics like OpenSea and floor prices, um, it's just like, if that's all you're worried about, this kind of protecting your bags and, um, I don't want to say, you should just get into projects because you love the arts. I think you also should love the team and what they're doing. Um, but I don't know. It's tough because on one hand, I think a really interesting aspect of NFTs is this kind of exclusive nature of it. Um, and I've seen a few projects kind of like Doodles where they're preparing a second collection that seems like it's going to be more about accessibility and inclusivity. And I've seen some FUD and uncertainty and things around that. Some distaste for that. I don't really understand that point of view, but I mean, their situation is a little bit more unique. They have lots of money, big teams now. Like, the situation is a little unique. Um, they're trying to really expand the brand, but for a project like us, starting out trying to find our footing in this vast metaverse, I don't know. It's tough. Everything changes so much, and I don't know if I'm in the position to say what they should do, um, in terms of mental health, especially. I mean, maybe if you're planning to do a donation, you actually do it. I've seen a lot of projects that say they're about mental health, but the community is super toxic. Or they say they're going to make this donation um, for a certain cause, whether it's mental health related or not, and that either never happens or it's never made a big deal. Like, I constantly am reminding people about the donation, um, because that's why we here. I'll even pin it up here. That's why we did it. So, and everything is transparent. You could see it all, the receipts and everything. Um, so I would think about trying to foster just wholesome communities. I mean, we don't censor people. Um, and we have, I don't really record my spaces because I leave them open for people just to talk, and there can be that really personal material that's brought up. But just making sure that your community feels welcome and safe, that even non-members feel included. Um, we give away tons of cookies. We give away so much. We give so much back. And that definitely, is our way of trying to be inclusive and also collaborate and just, connect with the community. It's probably easier said than done to foster a wholesome community, but there is a certain attitude, there is a certain behavior and demeanor that projects, whether they're founders or their mod team or anything like there is ways to approach this better. I'm not saying maybe we do it perfect, but I think we do a good job of really letting people, express themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a great response. I know you've got the crumbs token as well. I was just wondering what the future is for the crumbs token, and any things that you're got in the works, maybe coming up.
Oh man, bringing up crumbs. This is like at this point, it kind of is like an ongoing joke in the community. But in all seriousness, no, it's not a on-chain token. It's going to be completely off-chain, at least at the time of this recording. That is our plan moving forward. But we're not reinventing the wheel. It will be our version of soft staking, so an off-chain marketplace where by holding cookies, you'll passively earn this crumb currency. I try not to use the word staking really because it kind of acts like a rewards program, like for like different stores and businesses already maybe signed up for like Starbucks or whatever. Like by holding cookies and having them delisted, it's the incentive to do that because you'll be earning crumbs that you'll be able to spend in our marketplace. There's no monetary value. There's no liquidity pool. There's none of that stuff. It kind of is like a game. Like I use Fortnite. I use like in-app purchase games like as an example. Like it's just our marketplace, keeping everything within our ecosystem. That's kind of how we'll collaborate with projects, handle whitelists, give out NFTs. We've talked about even maybe doing our giveaways through that system, different arts, whatever it is. It's kind of just laying the foundation and creating the ecosystem for the cookies.
Yeah, sorry, Beamer.
I kind of missed the timing on this. I just want to bring up, so the crumbs is in progress. We've changed, we changed the direction of it a few times already. But yeah, as far as you mentioned earlier, what do we like that other projects are doing? I want to say that game nights, to me, have been one of the most fun aspects of the NFT world. We've had some of our own game nights, and sometimes we had some trouble getting enough people. Like for Fall Guys, we need 10 people. But even our own game nights, when we get them right and we get enough people, those are some of my fondest memories in the space. And even other people's game nights where I may not even know anybody in that community, those are always great. And I don't really spend a whole lot of time playing games these days, or even socializing for that matter. So for me, those are some of the highlights of my week. I think those are good aspects of the space, and I would like to improve those.
I'd just like to confirm as well, I am also the master of Pokemon guessing. I did actually. I entered one of the game. Well, it wasn't a game, like just more like the giveaway, the Friday giveaway. But I had so much fun, and yeah, I absolutely love Pokemon as well. So I was straight in there.
It's funny because you're surprisingly, at least within our community, one of the few Pokemon players or experts.
It's because he's old.
Like I find it so interesting. Like they'll put my cousin will put a GIF up of Lapras, and I'm like, man, I know who that is. Like that's or Geodude. Lapras is a little bit more niche, I'd say, but like Geodude or a Rattata, a Pidgey, and I'm like, come on, guys, this is not that hard. But I love our game nights. I love the competitive and fun nature of them. I think everybody gets a good laugh out of trying to best me in everything that we do. And we do offer certain prizes if you do beat me in certain games. And my cousin likewise.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to Jades. He's in the space right now. Thanks for coming, Jades. We will get the game nights going again, and we will have a solid match coming soon. We'll play again. I know that hasn't been able to play lately. That's it. Shout out to Jades. He's awesome. Thank you, Jades.
I wanted to just point out a few things that you guys mentioned that I think are really positive, by the way, which was the idea of data, right? Like the more you know about something, like whether it's floor price or trends or something, I think it's really smart to point that out, because that can, the more you see these things, the more it can lead to like maybe expectations or this like illusion of control, and it just forces people to like maybe get more stressed out, or it's a rabbit hole down some kind of anxiety for sure, I think. And on the flip side of that, you guys are saying that one of your favorite activities are the game nights, where you guys get to connect, and you guys aren't talking about any of this stuff. You're just getting to know each other, and I think that that's key, and that's just a really good point. Like, let's not worry too much about floor price or trends or whatever. Just let's just play. Let's just connect. That's what I heard, and I agree with that, and I think that's beautiful, and I encourage that. So great job, guys. I think Men's had one more question, and then I think we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I just had one more question. I know a bit. I don't want to go too deep, but I know, unfortunately, when your brother did pass, that he was also a single parent. So you've taken a lot of them parental responsibilities on. But I just wondered, do they help with the cool cookies, and do you feel it helps honour his memory because it's immortalised on the blockchain? Obviously, the cool cookies, the traits remind you, so essentially it's on the blockchain forever.
Yeah. My brother's passing, his life, the situation, it's unique, and I tell people, like, if they want to know more about this, I'd prefer to talk about it in private. But yeah, I mean, I do now, me, my younger brother, and my mom, we do now have the full responsibility of his son, my nephew. And he is supportive in the ways that I allow him to be. I think he thinks it's really cool that, his dad and these fond memories that we all have together are immortalized.
I mean, he helped design some stuff, right?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna get to. He actually did
okay.
design. Yeah, he did design a few traits. There's like the blue swirl T-shirt. He designed the little character on all the skater shirts and hoodies. He did the red sunset background. I did get his opinion on a lot. I would just send on his iPad. I would just send him like the layers of the cookies. And here, what do you think that this could need, or do something fun with it? So it was a very collaborative project, both with him, my mom, and my younger brother as well. That's why it was really tough for me to even cut traits from the collection, and really narrow it down to like, well, what there is right now. Maybe there will be a time where these traits that were cut, come back or whatever in some form. I don't know. But yeah, it's like a bittersweet situation. I obviously love my nephew. I love having him here full time, because he was living with my brother in a different state. So but obviously the situation is, it's sad, and he is a constant reminder of what's changed and what's happened. But it's all the donation and all that. It makes me very proud, and I finally feel like I do have a grasp on what we're doing and why we're doing it. And it's given me this purpose with the collection, with our roadmaps, with the donation. as an artist, I think, my mom always reminds me, it's like, in memory of my brother, that's great. But now it's about the new generation. It's about, my nephew, his life. And so being aware of that and in finding ways that I can help him because he is here, So it's very powerful what we've done and what we've accomplished already. And he is very aware of the cookies and the legacy that the cookies represent, the story, the message.
Yeah, great response. And I think Funge is about to up, but I just had a few closing words. And I think what you've both done at such a young age and as a family is really inspiring and incredible. And I see massive things ahead for the Cool Cookies. And you should just both be incredibly proud of what you've created, the community you've created, and just everything that you're doing. And I think the project, when I first heard about it, obviously hearing you in the space, it just really stood out to me. And it honestly, I love it's probably my favourite art. And I've actually been getting a few cool cookies on the sly myself as well. But I just think it's incredible what you've both done. And you should be really, really, really proud. And it's just great to have the partnership and just great to meet you both. So just wish you all the best of luck in the space.
Yeah, my closing thoughts would be that I love so much of what you guys are doing. You guys are unique as far as just the art, but also the story, and then also the way you guys carry yourself as founders. That's what stood out to me. All those things, and I encourage it, and I support it. We support it for sure. Best of luck, and keep going on, because I think that the topic is important, the message is important, the mission is important. And I did want to say also because we're going to put this on YouTube as well, if anybody was interested in Cool Cookies, where would they go? Where would you want to direct them? Oh, and I also wanted to say, actually, go ahead.
I mean, you can go.
I'd rather you go first. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at coolcookies_NFT. That has all of the links to our collection on OpenSea and our Discord. But you can just look us up on OpenSea as well, just Cool Cookies. We should come up where we have the little blue verified check mark, so you know that you're on the correct collection. And you'll know, especially because the creator will say it's from Search Ghost, which is me. So from there, you can also find all of our socials, Twitter, Discord, everything.
And then what I was going to say was that I just wanted to formally thank both of you for being open-minded and interested and trusting in this partnership. We think that we're offering some great things, and it only goes as far as the founders that are willing to trust us. We love what you're doing, and thanks again for trusting us. Bimo, did you have any closing thoughts?
No. Thank you. This has been great and fun. Nothing but gratitude. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both, and I will get that Harry Potter. Sorry, Cook.
No, you're good. I was just saying thank you as well, and likewise, I'm excited to see what our collaboration in terms of our partnership turns into. It's just I'm very excited, and I really enjoy all that you guys offer as well. And thank you for organizing this space.
Maybe I could throw in a little alpha, I guess.
Yes.
It's kind of a maybe. We gotta see if we can get enough interest, but we're thinking to add a little freestyle channel to our Discord server for just people to just drop in and slap some bars on their free time and whenever. super casual thing. But yeah, that's
This
a
is
maybe.
your moment, Ments.
I was gonna say if you're doing that, I'll if there's like an award for the worst bars, I'll probably win that. Maybe that could be a thing.
We could probably work with that. Yeah. Yeah, it would just totally be for fun, nothing serious. But yeah, we could totally look into awards. We don't have an organized plan yet. Yeah, more of a casual thing.
Well, we have cookies, so there are always things on the line.
Yep.
You guys are a good example of how people will do a lot of things if at the end it means they get cookies. So thanks a lot for
Exactly.
being here, guys. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Everybody, go check out Cool Cookies. Great project, great message, great founders. We love you guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh, wrapping it up.